My brother was paralyzed for 5 years, and I was shaking with anger the moment I saw him stand up for the first time. 5 years of our family's life revolved around Danny's accident. He'd been rock climbing without proper gear, fell 30 feet, and was airlifted to trauma. The doctors said he was lucky to be alive, but would never walk again. T12 complete spinal injury, they said. Our mother aged 10 years overnight when it happened. She quit her job to become his full-time caregiver. Dad took a second mortgage to pay for modifications to Danny's house, ramps, wider doorways, a special bathroom, a van with hand controls. I gave him $30,000 for my kids' college funds for experimental treatments in Germany that insurance wouldn't cover. The whole family restructured around Danny's needs. Every holiday at his house because traveling was too difficult. Every family decision filtered through. But what about Danny? My daughter gave up her room when we visited so Danny could have the ground floor. My son learned to push wheelchairs before he could ride bike, and the entire time, Danny could walk. I'd gotten suspicious 3 weeks earlier. My wife mentioned seeing Danny's van at the hiking trail parking lot while she was jogging. Maybe he was meeting someone, she suggested, but something felt wrong. His wheelchair had no wear on the wheels after 5 years. The hand controls in his van looked pristine, but the foot pedals were worn. He lived alone, but somehow his high shelves were always organized. Small things that added up to one big lie. That night, I'd parked down the street and waited. At 2 a.m., his garage light went on. Through the window, I watched my paralyzed brother work out like a CrossFit champion. I sat in my car afterward, shaking, not from anger, from memories. Mom was crying at Christmas because Danny couldn't play football with the kids. Dad is working construction at 70 to pay for Danny's medical supplies. My wife and I are fighting about the money we'd given him instead of saving for retirement. The next morning, I didn't confront him. Instead, I hired a private investigator. I need you to follow my brother. He's supposed to be paralyzed. The PI didn't even blink. You'd be surprised how common this is. 3 days later, he had everything. Video of Danny at a 24-hour gym across town at 3 a.m., running on a treadmill. Photos of him hiking, actually hiking, in secluded trails. Bank records showing disability payments, GoFundMe donations, and under-the-table income from a remote job he'd never told us about. The worst part? The PI found Danny's dating profile on a fitness app. His bio, adventure seeker, marathon runner, living life to the fullest. Posted 2 weeks after his accident, but I still didn't confront him. I had something else in mind. Danny's birthday was coming up. The whole family was planning a surprise party. His 33rd. Mom had organized it around his limitations. Single-story restaurant, wheelchair accessible, special transportation arranged. I offered to make a video montage of Danny's journey. Everyone loved the idea. Mom cried just thinking about it. I spent 2 weeks creating the perfect presentation. Started with hospital photos, doctor's grim prognosis, and family rallying around him. Then the recovery, physical therapy he'd faked, wheelchair basketball he'd pretended to struggle with, inspirational posts about accepting his limitations. The last section I titled, Danny's Secret. The party was perfect. 40 people came. Friends who'd organized fundraisers, co-workers who donated sick days, our elderly aunts who'd knitted him blankets. When it was time for the video, I stood up. Danny's been through so much, I began. But he's also taught us about resilience, about overcoming what seems impossible. Danny was tear-eyed, playing his part perfectly. The video started. Everyone watched, smiling, crying at the hard parts. Then came Danny's secret. First, the gym footage. Danny is doing pull-ups at 3 a.m. The room went silent. Then the hiking videos. Danny is climbing steep trails, jumping across rocks. People started murmuring. Finally, the dating profile. Marathon runner, living life to the fullest. Mom stood up. What is this? This is Danny running a 5K last weekend, I said, as the video showed him crossing a finish line. Timestamp clear. 3 days after, he told us he needed new wheelchair batteries. Danny tried to wheel himself out, still committed to the act. Stand up. Dad's voice was terrifying. Danny stood. Mom fainted. Actually fainted. The room exploded. Our cousin James, who'd given Danny $10,000 for stem cell therapy, lunged at him, had to be held back. Our grandmother, 91 years old, who'd been sending him her social security money, just walked out. The police arrived then. I called them before the party, explained the situation. Disability fraud is a felony. So is theft by deception over certain amounts. Danny was arrested at his own birthday party, in front of everyone who'd sacrificed for him. The investigation revealed everything. He'd healed within 8 months of the accident, but realized the attention, money, and excuse to avoid responsibility were too good to give up. He'd practiced being paralyzed, researched spinal injuries to answer medical questions correctly, and even learned to suppress his reflexes during examinations. He got 3 years in prison. Not enough, but something. Mom hasn't spoken to him since. The money's gone, spent on his secret lifestyle, but at least the lie is over.